Love Jones. I am back with another one. You know what? For some reason, this thing that this lady she watching somebody else's video, and the title of her video was something like "How to Know When You're Dealing with a Demonic Spirit" or something like that. But she's not giving you any of the signs. It's someone else, a young man, looks like on TikTok that's doing it, and she's just reiterating whatever he's saying. She's just repeating whatever he's saying and adding her 2 cents to it. And so he giving you signs that he think it should be, and she's just kind of agreeing with him in the background. And so I don't know, for whatever reason that popped up on my timeline, because I already watched it one time and I thought it's kind of misleading. Certain things that's said on there is kind of misleading. I don't know, y'all. One of the people, the person who's doing it, she looked like this little nice old church going lady. And it just got me to thinking. It'd be the people who look the most innocent in a situation, the people that you think never have anything to do with nothing. A lot of times, those be the most demonic people. Uh, I ain't trying to be funny. I grew up in church, but a lot of times it be the people right there in church every day. Be the most demonic people you can deal with. They be right there in the church, judging people, feeling like their way is the only way for whatever reason. Somebody told them in their mind that their way is the only way to get to heaven. And so they call judgment on people, they prey on people, they cause chaos in people's lives, they try to dictate your life. You know, a lot of times they're messy, they nosy, all the things that go against God. And I ain't saying, oh, well, I say this. It's people like that in almost every church, every single church. And they be the ones that be the closest to the pastors. They be the ones that sit right up on the pulpit. Sometimes they be the ones we call our elders that be in there. That's so disconnected from God, and they feel like just because they come to church means they have this connection. When the truth is, because you come to church, you have a connection with the church. You have a connection with your pastor. You have a connection with the people inside of the church. It doesn't give you a connection with God. So it's so funny to me that those people, for some reason, a lot of them feel like they are, like God is giving them permission somehow uh, to be the way they are, uh, to judge people the way they do. And I always say, judge and you shall be judged. And so it's a day and time for people like that. Another thing I'm just trying to figure out is, why do people go so hard to like invade your life, or to mold your life into what they want it to be? You have a lot of people out there in the world who will do that instead of allowing you to live your life like everybody else lives their life. They try to invade it. They try to mold it into what they want it to be. They try to control it somehow. A lot of times, most times, you'll see that happening with people with money. People who are very successful in life, you have people in their family that try to dictate how they spend their money. People around them that try to tell them how to act, how they have to be, I guess, in order for them to appear a certain way in public. Never really allow a person to be themselves. However, I notice with people with not much money, those are the ones who are able to kind of live their life to the fullest almost. They do exactly what they want to do. They learn their lessons in life. Um, a lot of growth happens because they're allowed to make the mistakes they need to make in order to grow from them. Um, their life is not molded by somebody else because that somebody else, they don't know what God has in store for you. They don't know the lessons that you need to learn. And by listening to them, by doing what they think you should be doing, it could be actually hindering your growth. But I notice a lot of people have somebody in the background trying to dictate their life again. And it comes a lot of times with money because if you broke, nobody really cares about what you have going on in your life. Nobody really cares about the influence you have. You ain't got much anyway. You know, you've been hanging around the same five friends since high school. It's probably safe to say you don't have much influence. Nobody cares when it's like that. But when you start to get more noticed by people, when you start to have more influence over people's lives, when people start to look at you as an inspiration or some type of motivation, when people just start to pay attention to you, when your pockets start getting a little bit fatter, your finances starting to look better, then you have a lot of people that try to dictate stuff in your life. A lot of people come in and they try to sabotage your life. If you was broke, they wouldn't care. But now that it seems like you're on a move up, now they have to try to bring you back down to their level. And I don't know why people move like that. You could say that comes from jealousy, envy. Then why do they go so hard to try to control what it is you do? Where does that come from? So I feel like I've dealt with a lot of that. Me going my own way. It's just so. For the longest, I was able to do what I was doing. I had no problem with it. I was doing very well with what I was doing. I didn't make that much noise about how well I was doing with it. But the minute people started to notice that I was doing well, you know, they say more money comes more problems. I think that's what happens here. More money comes more problems. Good morning. Thanks for subscribing. Yeah. No, every now and then I look down at these comments. A lot of times I don't even pay attention to the comments. Uh, so most of the time it's not really people saying relevant things. It kind of throws you off from what you're talking about. But anyway, why are people the way they are? Somebody said something. Stop talking. I'm going to tell you something. What are you going to tell me? They're gone already, so Evidently, it wasn't nothing too much to tell me. And they call me bruh. You know what? Man, my kids use that a lot. They used to use that a lot. It kind of reminds me of them. Uh, talking to my daughter one time, and she was like, bruh. And it made me, y'all, it took everything in me to not react. Like, that's so disrespectful from a child to a parent. Like, I'm not your friend. Ain't that what we love to say? I'm not one of your little friends. Don't play with me. What you mean, bruh? Yeah. They adults now. So I still don't play about that part though, but they adults now. You know, she was a teenager back then. You know, my daddy's words, he used to always say, "You smelling yourself, fine." That's what I feel like. The teenagers, they start to smell themselves. And they step outside the box for a while. Sometimes they have to get hit with a dose of reality. Yeah, put them back into that box. Anyway, just reading that just made me think about, you know, that time she said it to me. It's so funny. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then. You know, it's part of life. I feel like, you know, things happen in life and you be so frustrated about it. Feel like the world is gonna end. Nothing's going in your way. And eventually, you know, the Bible says this too shall pass. And when it passes, you're able to look back on certain things and kind of laugh about it. Things that you didn't find so funny at first. And so just like I was just talking about her and being able to laugh at it now, like this, whatever this is that I'm going through, that I'm having to endure, I'll be able to look back and laugh about it. I'm from the States. Um, I am originally from Alabama, venomous vampire. It's in India. It's night right now. I had a friend, called him Prayer Brother. He's from India. He used to go back and forth to India all the time. I've been thinking about him heavy for these last couple of weeks because it seems like everything is around me being staged. The two can touch and agree. And two can touch and agree. And you get your prayers answered. They're stronger. I won't say you get them answered, but depending on what you're praying for, can definitely make it stronger when you have more people doing it. And that was person I had praying for positivity for me, and I was receiving it. No, it's so funny. Your own people will pray against you. They will do things against you. They will target you, try to make you look a certain way in public. Public humiliation with the Capricorn. Yeah. So yeah, Your own family will be in the church, but because you're not doing what it is they want you to do in life, then they target you instead of praying for you and trying to understand your point of view. They target you instead. And so I kind of miss my prayer brother. So I feel like I don't, people like me don't have enough people on their team helping them because everybody works together to go against them. Everybody works together. Everybody works together to support the people who look like they should be supported. And I don't know where in the Bible it says, if a person look a certain way, then this is what you go for. So funny, it remind me of that one time I got somebody at one of these church people because they know exactly what you're going through, but they won't step up and do anything. That's how you know how much of a relationship with God they actually have because they won't do anything about it. They'll just watch you go through it, and they'll help the people they want to help. They say, even the devil helps and supports the people that he likes. The real test is helping and supporting the people who you don't really feel like you should for whatever reason. A lot of times when you do go out the way to help somebody that you may not feel like you should help, for whatever reasons your ego is telling you, you'll realize that person may not be like you expect them to be. But you'll never figure that out if you're just sitting back making judgment. I have there's a lot of people, especially church people, a lot of church people. Other people too, but a lot of church people in your energy. And they just calling judgment on you and they just watch you just go through things that you go through. And like I said, it speaks volumes about the relationship they actually have with God. You can kind of tell that it's non existent. It's non existent. Because they wouldn't be able to sit back and just watch certain things. But I had one person one time, it's like she was waiting for me to pull up. And some of them are intuitive too. I don't think for one second these people, just because they go to church, they're not intuitive. They can't hear certain things, see certain things, because some of them very well can do exactly what I'm sitting up here doing. And some of them do it. They just ain't going to go out the way to tell you that they do it. Uh, so yeah, I remember this one day I pulled up to wash my clothes and it's like she was waiting for me to get there. And as I was just kind of sitting there, just kind of preparing myself to get out the car, she gave me this pamphlet. The pamphlet said, "When is the suffering gonna stop?" And I didn't even open it up and read it, to be honest with you. I just threw it in the trash can when I got in. Because I'm like, this is the extent of their help. I was watching this one thing on YouTube when he was talking about, he seen a pastor on the side of the road. His pastor, evidently, he had a flat tire on his car. So he pulled up on him and asked him if he needed some help. And the guy said yes. And so he got out the car, went around to the man and grabbed his hand and he prayed for him. And then he left. And then he left. He told him, prayer heals all things. God gonna come and help you with this. And I just thought that was hilarious because a lot of times that's what they do. They ain't gonna go out the way to actually help you. That's what that's what happens. They'll pray for you and tell you God gonna come through and help you. But God helps through people. And it's just so funny that, certain people would take that type of attitude. Well, I pray for him behind the scenes, but I'm not gonna actually do anything to support them. I'm not going to actually do anything in the physical that's going to help them. Although I have all the resources in the world to be able to do it, I'm not going to. We just going to pray for them and hope everything works out for them. And that's fine, you know. It's fine. I've kind of grown now to not expect certain things, especially from certain people, because you just know they don't have it in them. And maybe, you know, it's not nothing against them. You have to have a true relationship with the Most High. Sometimes you have to be raised a certain way. Um, you have to be emotionally intelligent, um, not emotionally negligent. And certain people just aren't that way, even, you know, whether they in the church or whether they outside the church, they just really don't have it in them. And unfortunately, they feel like their way is the right way. And I can tell you, there's no one religion that's going to heaven and everybody else going to hell. Um, People are judged from their hearts, by their hearts. And if your heart don't make you want to help people you see struggling, then there's something wrong there. There's something wrong there. You know, and I don't mean just financial help. I mean something so much as telling them what they need to be told, giving them advice about something, filling in the missing puzzle pieces. If you see that it's something that they don't know that you know, and then enlighten them. By all means, enlighten them. People don't, you know, they sit back, they sit on information, they sit on money, they sit on resources, everything that could help you, they'll sit on it, never say anything. And they think that's going to usher in blessings for them. And that's the most disappointing part. And for some reason in their mind, they feel like they are blessed, that they're going to continue to be blessed by only helping with and dealing with people like them and people who they like. And now I was listening to something one time and they were just talking about all the great inventors and how what they call aliens, and I always believed them to be angels, but what they call aliens would come down and they would talk to certain people and give them certain knowledge. And how the CIA back in the day, you know, they wonder why aliens would not come in and talk to them, why they wasn't being given all of this important information that other people would be given, why from one intelligent source to another intelligent source they are not receiving the messages that this one person may be receiving. So a lot of times we see ourselves as being something that God don't see us being. In that case, the intelligent source that was given the information don't see you as being the intelligent source that it takes to receive the type of information that's being given. And I feel like that's the case a lot of times right now. That's how this happens. People put themselves on pedestals, and they boast and they brag and they give high honor to themselves, and they don't allow God to be the judge because they're so quick to judge themselves and so quick to judge other people. And so to them, it's impossible that you would receive the information that you receive. To them, it's impossible for you to have a connection with God when they in church 7 days out the week and they not that connected. They don't receive the information. And it just goes back to what I was saying, you perceive yourself to be this intelligence source, this person who is so connected to God, when in actuality, God could be looking at you like you're one of the most disconnected people. And just like you're looking at this person and you're not receiving the information this person is giving you because you're judging them, you may not be mentally capable of receiving information directly from God when He says, again, judged and ye shall be judged, when He says, treat people like you want to be treated, when He says, love thy neighbor. You actually don't. And you can look at people and watch them suffer and feel like it's not your job to do anything. When you can feel like God has blessed you with resources, but they're for yourself and for only who you feel like deserve to have it. The way you can just ignore something telling you that you probably should go and do certain things, help certain people, whether it's with knowledge that they don't know, or whether it's financial help, or whether it's food they need, whatever the case may be, who's not like you. And so when God sees you're not doing very basic things, like the bare minimal when it comes down to things, you're not going to be blessed with something bigger to handle. So yeah, it is what it is. So a lot of times, we judge a book from its cover and we feel like the person who in church 7 days out the week is the person who's the most connected. But we're going to learn to stop judging a book by its cover. Pick the book up and read it. To at least turn it over and read the back of it to see what the book is about. So anyway, yeah. International, it says outside the United States, collaborated with family. So family may have collaborated with people who are outside of the U.S. I see a world leader here. So I feel like this is something that you could be, this world leader. And maybe that's why this family felt like they had to collaborate with people outside of the U.S. to knock you off that throne that God set you on. That's the whole purpose. They don't feel like you should be in such a position when they are not. That's why, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. People put themselves places, and then God puts people in places. And so you have a situation here where people feel like they should be in certain positions, where they should have certain finances, where they should have certain influence, and that you should not have it because of whatever it is that they're judging you to do, or to have done. Oh, I said earlier, God will leave the 100 and go find the one. And so maybe you are the one. And so while the 100 is in the background working together to sabotage you, you got God on your side working to make sure that you're successful at every single thing He wanted you to do, and that you gain everything that He wanted you to have. And so sometimes what people don't know is they're not fighting against you. And they looking at you and they're wondering, how can you be this strong? How can certain things they do not work against you? It's that they're not fighting against you. They're fighting against God and God's will. His will be done. It's gonna happen regardless of whatever you think. You can't pray to the divine for what has already been written, for what He wanted to happen to not happen. It sounds kind of stupid when you say it. And so if y'all would just think about it like that, then that may explain a little better about why what you're doing is not working, why what you're doing has only gotten you so far. And you may have been successful with causing somebody to lose their job. It's because God didn't want them to have that job anyway. You may have been successful with causing somebody to lose their car. And maybe God has a better car for them. Maybe God wanted them to practice detachment anyway. What you weren't successful in is trying to unalive somebody because it's not their time to go. Because there's a purpose and a plan for their life. You may go long before they do. Yeah. What you weren't successful in was stopping this money that God was giving them to fulfill a purpose, a plan, divine plan. Because it's God's plan. That's God's will. You weren't going to touch that. I mean, even if you got to spend a little bit, even if the powers that be decided they wanted you to have it, somebody else would come through. So even if you got the people over the state in these positions of power that decide they don't want this person to have something, God will put a millionaire in your life, a billionaire in your life, and that person will be the person who gives you exactly what these folks have stolen from you. That's how life works. You can't stop what God has for someone. You can try, but you can't stop it. You cannot stop it. And you gotta wonder who would go up against a person like that. Person who is quiet as kept, person who doesn't mess with anybody, a person who is living in their life purpose and just doing what it is they're supposed to be doing. Who would go after a person like that? Someone who knows what your purpose is, someone who is going at, someone who volunteers to go against God, maybe a very ungodly person. But everybody likes to throw the name around because, I mean, even on a dollar bill, it says, "In God we trust." So we don't want it to look like we actually worshiping the devil here or doing devil's work, right? Politics. You know, when karma come back around and get some of these people, it's gonna be bad. Filing fake reports. Yeah, this thing says God, but I caught a glimpse of it, and I read GOP. 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 Let's just see. The Republican Party, also known as the GOP, is one of the two major contemporary political parties in the United States. So this could be about politics. We already seen politics as well. And then for me to look at GOD, first thing I seen was GOP. And so there could be a situation where the government has stepped in and they're trying to do something to sabotage you. Where are the good people in government? Where are the good people in government? You got to ask yourself, is this a case of race with this Republican Party here? See a Scorpio here. Bad attitude from a Scorpio. Is it a case of race where they don't like your race? Because I was listening to something earlier, and that's what she said, you know, these are people who don't like people who look like us. And so is this a case of somebody receiving some money here, and maybe people who don't like people who look like us has decided that they want to give the money to somebody who looks more like them, who acts more like them, who is more in line with what they believe instead of just doing their job? Is this the case of somebody feeling like maybe a person would have too much ability um, to sway the way that things are, to too much ability to cause change, to make people see certain things, and so they don't want them to have this money, so uh, they can't have as much pull being broke as they would if they had millions of dollars in the bank like them. Is this a case where you just have people who are attached to this particular party who are just jealous and envious of someone here? You just don't want to see them win. What is this? Why am I getting GOP and politics in this? Is everybody scared? That why everybody's scared and pretending to not know anything and turning the other cheek because somehow government has got involved in this, filing fake reports. No, we already been talking about corrupt police officers and the way they caused me to lose my job and you know, way you're cyber bullied by things or by certain specific people here. No, and they said when it comes down to things like mind reading, I'm trying to think of the word they use. Especially when you have certain people coming for you on the internet. Um, Very personal things that no one should know here. A lot of times it's a government thing. Why is the government coming after a person? We hope this is not the case here, but that's kind of what I'm getting here. Putting things on the dark web, showing favoritism. You got a smooth criminal here. They're threatening a child here. And so this could definitely be someone who's part of the Republican Party. It's funny because I always say that this is a red state. It's so funny because I just finished thinking about that as I came out of the gym. That this is a red state and that could mean red flags. Red flags. Military here. These people have access to the military. Someone here is jealous. That's what it comes down to. Jealousy, corrupt individuals. Employers are in on it. Yeah, they work with employers here. They work with your employers to cause you to lose your job. These military people, this person who is jealous, they don't want to see you win, but not only do they not want to see you win, and there's probably some money being held back from you so that you can't go on to do what you're supposed to do, but they're going to cause you to lose the money that you had set up. It's a robbery. They set you up to be able to steal it, your money. Whether that's steal it for themselves or steal it and disperse it between the people who they wanted to have it, the people who they supported, the people who look more like them, the people who think more like them. I see a world leader here. This is what they tried to sabotage. And so you have here, where this may be the case of someone looking at you and they seen the potential that you had to be a world leader, and they decided they was going to sabotage that because you go against everything they think, believe, so they're going to sabotage that. This is like dirty politics. Only you have a person here who wasn't being a politician, who wasn't thinking about politics, but you know what? They seen you as having too much pull when it comes to people. They seen you having too much influence over certain people. And so to cut that short, we're going to work with some people to make you homeless. We're going to have everybody around you not talking to you. We're going to pay people to go up against you, do all these smear campaigns, maybe put some stuff on the dark web. Could even have you on camera. Could even have you on some type of live camera. I know there were cameras in my house, so it makes me think, was somebody watching me live when I was in my own house? You have people watching somebody live in their house? I just seen private party, but feel like this is definitely a party, not a private party. We just read GOP, one of the two parties. Republican Party here. Somebody here. This could definitely be coming from high up here, y'all. And you know, the more I talk about it, the more I'm thinking, let me stop talking about it, because I think this is a case where you need to reach out to someone bigger. You know, I was saying, yeah, United Nations, and the government is coming up against you for no reason. Feds are listening. Y'all gonna do something about this or no? Just gonna keep listening and watch. You have elite people. You have working with family members. Whole army coming up against one person, one woman who's a U.S. citizen, who's not doing anything wrong. People are just worried about the influence they may have over people. And they are trying to sabotage somebody here. Are y'all gonna do something about it or no? Threatening children. These are people with the status. They have children of their own. Forbid their children gets threatened. And then I think y'all gonna come running to the rescue, right? Threaten one of their kids. Their position is getting threatened. And they're able to just sabotage somebody's whole life because they worried about their positions being threatened. And so what are y'all gonna do for the people like me? When you have people in these positions of power, because they need to come out of those positions. They need to come out of those positions. They shouldn't have them if they're using them to just sabotage people. You know, it kind of reminds me, you know, a lot of people saying a certain person, if they win, is going to take us way back to what we worked so hard to come back from. And how they may even try to change these rules to make it to where they have a longer presidency. Then you have to ask yourself, are people in politics doing that regularly? Manipulating things and changing rules so that they can continue to look the way that they look? Be the way they are? To still get away with whatever this is they've been getting away with? Coming against their own people? And you have to ask yourself, if they go so hard for coming in, going against their own people, what's likely of them going somewhere else and being able to win something? Because you come against your own people. And so how people not going to come against you? How people not going to come against you? You know, if you got a city, a world of people trying to sabotage their own people, when it comes down to wars breaking out, what make you think people want to go and they want to fight for people to continue to be able to sabotage their way through things? Something has to be done. Something has to be done. And it's so funny because it's like as soon as I start making money, then here they go with this $1,000 that's owed to the state. It's the state. They don't like the light you carry. And so you got people here, they trying to sabotage you. They want to make sure that you don't have this money. They want to make sure that you're not able like capable of lifting yourself up, and so they holding money back from you that they're supposed to be turning over, and they're sabotaging you in everyday life. They're traumatizing you. They're pretty much torturing somebody in their everyday life because they're afraid of the influence that this person is going to have, and that their influence may be greater than theirs. Well, I mean, I never asked to be in politics, but one thing about it is I'm not going to sabotage people if I ever am. I ain't going to do what's just right for me, because that seems like what the case is here. Somebody want what they want, and they're using the corrupt individuals to get it. They're using their status to make sure they're able to get what they want. These people just don't like you. For what reason? Why have they made one regular citizen who was literally just working at public storage a target? If I did get into politics, I would tell people the truth. Cut the deck on corruption here. I tell people the truth. I wouldn't try to hide certain things from them. I wouldn't try to thrive off a person's ignorance. We want people to do better. You have to give them the information they need in order to do better in life, to make the proper choices that they should be making. You get it? Not everything is up for the public to hear. Some things are classified, but for the things that aren't, we shouldn't be trying to make people ignorant. We shouldn't be trying to guide someone's opinion of certain things. You know, you work for the people. This is not a case where the people should be working for you. You work for them. And so you should be doing things to try to make it better for them, not trying to make it better for yourself, not trying to make sure you have certain positions, not trying to make sure you maintain certain power, because this is not a thing of power unless you're just power hungry, which is what it seems like here. Power hungry person is threatened. Collaborated with family. And so you've torn somebody's life apart. You have completely obliterated their finances. You have sabotaged their relationships with their family. And y'all sit up somewhere and y'all are completely satisfied with it, right? Completely satisfied in destroying someone who has done nothing to you, because they know a little bit more than you want them to know, and you feel like they're going to have a little bit more influence than you. That's a power hungry person that doesn't deserve to be in any power. If it's just the person here, I see Aquarius and Scorpio. If this is a case where people are just connected to these parties here, yeah, I still feel like people shouldn't have a certain position. If you're allowing people in your family to use it for corrupt things, you don't deserve to have it any more than they do. That means you're no longer working for the city, you're working for your family and for your friends, and making sure they keep an advantage over everybody else. Speaking of ignorance, Ronaldo asked, do you like fried chicken and watermelon? I'm just going to go and put that out there. So you can see that there's definitely something going on with race and ignorance as well. Ignorance is bliss. You know, sometimes people are stupid not because the knowledge isn't there, because they choose not to accept the knowledge for what it is. You know, you ignore the truth. And that's unfortunate that people are ignorant. That's unfortunate. It doesn't speak about me. It speaks volumes about who y'all are. I'm glad I didn't read that when people were on here, because I told you, people get on here and say the most dumb shit, and they expect you to respond back to them when they say it. I have no response to that question. Does your mother eat watermelon and chicken? No, it's a government issue chicken out there. It's not even the same chicken it used to be. So maybe now that it's government issue, it's created by some of these scientists. Do you eat a lot of it? Is that why people are full of shit? Are you eating the right things in your life to be successful? Take on, you know. Anyway, we have 56:56. I'll be back.